Today's guest you've met many times before, and in fact he's been on this channel before, and I've even interviewed him before. However, this new program that I've got is called Digging Deeper, and we like to peel back the layers somewhat and get to know the individual a lot better. We're going to talk to somebody that very much doesn't fit the stereotype in the fact that he's an English guy, 40-year-old English guy, living in Bangkok with his English wife. They have a stable marriage, stable relationship, a child, stable jobs, and he's a YouTuber. His name is Gary Butler, and he roams around and he eats and he tells you about it. So I've got another channel now called The Roaming Dad, a channel that I would have loved to have had a few years back. Anyway, a few days ago I went to see Gary and we met about halfway. We met in Bangkok, and quite honestly we got coffeed up. We walked back and forwards across the street in between Tesco and the mall, Bangkok, various other places. We probably spent 5 or 6 hours just waffling. Anyway, I've cut that down to less than an hour, and we tried to go a little bit deeper as well. I want to get to know some of the people that you watch on YouTube a little bit better. So let's talk to Gary Butler today, and let's really get to know the geezer.
It's often been said that I've got the best beard hair combo over 40 on YouTube.
I'm pretty sure that's often been said by you.
I am the best. Right. I don't mean to sound egotistical again. I'm maybe not the best, but I don't know anyone who's better.
So when I can afford it, we shall employ you, mate.
100%, 100%. I'll come around and do it for free, mate. Don't
Fantastic.
worry. I get up about 5 AM usually, sometimes earlier, but it's been 4:30 this week. I try and get a little bit of work done before my son wakes up. He wakes up about 6, 6:30, then I get his breakfast and stuff ready, if my wife hasn't already done it the night before, and then I drop my wife and my son to school at around 7:30, and then I will either go to film straight away, or do a live stream straight away, or I will go home and edit. That might take me the whole day, it might not. Do some housework, do some chores. I try to go to the gym every day, because good to, especially when you're eating as much as I do, it's very good to get your exercise in. So I try to go to the gym every day. I usually do end up going about 3 or 4 times a week. Might have a swim, more filming, more editing. So I'm either filming, editing, or doing a live stream, or perhaps very occasionally once a week I'll do some emailing. I'll do my emails and I'll answer some Instagram messages and stuff, and then I'll go and pick my wife and son up from school, come home, make the dinner, put my son to bed if it's my turn to put him to bed, and then I will do some more editing and then go to bed. And then very occasionally, maybe once a week, I'll watch a series with my wife, but usually it's my wife watching TV or marking and I am working non-stop. I would say that I probably work 12 hours a day, every day, minimum. If I worked 12 hours a day in England doing what I used to do every day, I would be on about 8 times what I'm on money-wise than I'm on YouTube.
What skill do you have that makes you particularly suited for what you're doing right now?
Right, so I'm not very good at, I don't excel at anything, right? I'm okay at most things. Like I'm not great at football, but I can kick a ball about. Like I'm alright at most things, right?
Disco dancing?
I'm alright, I can body pop a little bit. But I don't excel at anything, yeah. But one thing I've always been good at, right, is picking flavours out of food. So, like from a very young age, I would read the back of packets for the ingredients. Yeah? Okay. It could be ketchup, could be anything, right? And then I would like recreate that. So I've always been obsessed with ingredients. The other knack I have is to look at something. Like I could drive past somewhere, or I could be on a skywalk or something, and see a restaurant. It could be a shabby little thing, and go, right, that's going to be good. Yeah. 9 times out of 10 it is. So if there was a job where that was actually a skill that was needed, I'd be a multi-millionaire, but it's not. So I decided to do it yourself. So that's why I'm skilled, and plus I'm obsessive, slightly ADHD, right. And yeah, I'm just obsessed with food. I've been since I was 6 years old. So.
You're from North London. You grew up in North London, right?
Very suburban northwest London. Yeah, I'm from a town called Harrow, which is about as far out of London you can get without being outside of London.
Okay. So instead of doing the whole sort of life story and going through your childhood and all that nonsense, let's start with where did you meet your wife? And how long was it before you persuaded her to move over here?
Good question. So I actually met my wife online. But this was before, like, people really. It wasn't like Tinder, and that wasn't about. And how that came about was I was working in a place called Port Hedland, which was 1,200 kilometres north of Perth, absolutely middle of nowhere, Mad Max country in Western Australia, right? And I was in a house. We stayed in a house while we were working. It was full of geezers, right? So it was like minimum 5 of us, so maximum there would have been about 10 at any one time.
Right.
There was no women in this town either. There was like 2 women and about 4,000 men, right? I remember my mate Paul, Irish guy that I lived with, shout out to Paul if he's watching, he said to me, I'm on this dating site, right? And I went, what are you doing on a date? Like, who are you going to meet? Like, we're in the middle of nowhere. He went, no, it ain't to meet women. It's just so I don't have to talk to you lot.
Yeah, right.
Like, it's just talk to women. So I went, oh, yeah, that sounds all right. So he set me up a profile, and I never used it.
Right.
Now, fast forward about, because I left there, and then I went back to England for about 6 weeks before I did my second year in Australia, but travelled for about 2.5 months in Asia, then went home, and I still had this dating site. So I go on, thought, and why not? Like, I'm only here for a month, right? Find out a load of other people are on it in England, so it's not so weird. And so I see my wife, and I thought it was a wind-up, because I'd just been getting like 60-year-old women messaging me, because I didn't realise you had to put like an age thing, right, so I put like 18 to 70 or something. And so long story short, we meet, like we get chatting on there, exchange Facebooks, make sure we're real people and all that. And her sister had set hers up, right, because she's going to Australia, but I didn't know this. So we get on our first date, and I must have said something like, oh, I'm not looking for anything serious, because I'm going to Australia in 3 weeks, and she's gone, yeah, so am I. What date? 25th of November, I think it was. We flew on the same day to Sydney.
Okay.
And then I booked us a hotel, meant to spend a couple of days together, and then we ended up, she come and met me, we went, like, I took her with me up the Gold Coast, drove back to Sydney. Then my friend found us some shared accommodation. I was like, we might as well be splitting a room so we're not paying $400 each.
Okay, yeah.
So we basically moved in together on our 3rd date. And that was God, 13 years ago. And she ain't got rid of me yet. But I mean, don't get me wrong, it hasn't been all plain sailing, mainly on my part. But about 8 years ago, after a few things had happened, I booked a flight to Thailand, and she wasn't supposed to come, and then she ended up coming. I told her to bring her CV. She said, no way, I'm not living in Bangkok. And then, long story short, she got offered a job while she was here for the week. And 3 months later, we flew out.
And she's a teacher, right?
She's a teacher, yeah.
Fantastic. Mate, you know what? It's almost, for me, when you're living in Bangkok as an expat, it's almost perfect having a wife who works at a school, particularly an international school, as you know, because you get an awful lot of your fees off, don't you?
Yeah.
How much you save in a year? Probably 400 odd grand or something silly.
Might even be even more where my boy is. Right. It's about that, yeah.
So what drew you in originally? You weren't looking for anything serious. What is it about your wife that drew you in? What about her personality?
Well, she acted, when we first met, she acted completely normal. And then by the time I found out that she was like the rest of them, we were already in Australia. So no, she's a good. I think at that time I was, without going too deep, I mean, I was a mess. Like, if you met me on the street, you'd think I was fine, life and soul of the party.
Is that mental health? Is that drink, drugs, or a mixture?
Drink, drugs, mixture, mental health. But a lot of the I guess looking back at it now, you could say it was mental health. You know, every Monday I was depressed, and that was always after a weekend of boozing or whatever. So I think at that point, I was just like, because in my head, although I was holding it together, if you knew me, I think I just couldn't believe that someone normal was interested in me. She got a stable background, good family.
I won't get into that too much because it sounds like there was a touch of self-loathing and stuff like that there.
Oh yeah,
because we all get that a little bit, like whether it's imposter syndrome or something.
Yeah. No. Yeah. I had a mad relationship with drink and whatever else from the age of 13 to 32, mate. Mad one.
It's a common story in the UK, isn't it? My town, as I'm sure yours is full of certain substances and as well as drink and stuff, you know, people just get on it, get a football fight.
Yeah.
You know?
So for long periods of our relationship, at the start, I would even say for the first 7 or 8 years, I was still out as if I was like,
Right.
you know, I'd go out on all-nighters, 2 days. Like, it was only when I stopped drinking for about a year before I came to Bangkok.
Yeah.
Got myself sorted, and that was that basically.
How long were you here before you decided you get married? What made you want to pop the question, and where did you pop the question?
No, well, look, natural progression in it. After a while, you've got to, haven't you? So I actually proposed in Verona in Italy on Romeo and Juliet's balcony, which is a bit corny, but in true me fashion, it was about, I think it was about €500 a night. So I got cold feet, and I booked this, and I thought, oh, she ain't gonna like it anyway. So I booked another guest house here that made homemade cakes for about €200 a night. But I couldn't cancel the other one, I didn't know, so they took the money for both, so we ended up there. But so I proposed in England, we got engaged in England, and then again, a few things happened, and actually she called the whole wedding off. It was meant to be a massive wedding in England, she called it off.
Okay.
I moved out for a bit, forcibly evicted, and that kind of just set the whole journey going.
So did that trigger, did you have to change a couple of things, that the way that you were acting?
I had to change massively. I actually went to therapy.
Okay.
I was doing therapy for about a year, because I think, you know, you hear it so much. Things that happen to you when you're in your childhood, they don't tend to rear their heads until you hit 30 and you start getting into your 30s, and then you start to really understand why you keep repeating certain behaviours.
Yeah.
So did the counselling.
How does that manifest itself though? Do you just sit and talk to someone for an hour?
Yeah, you just sit and talk, and to be honest, I did it a couple of times before that, but I never lasted more than one session, because I'd be like, who are you talking to? Like, and it was only actually, I was in Greece, and I met this woman, and she'd had some really bad things happen to her, and she was talking to me about counselling. It was almost like someone had put her there, because this is what I needed to hear at that time. She said, you know what, you've always got, if you ever do counselling, you've always got to wait till your third one, at least. You've got to get the ones you're not comfortable with until you find someone you are comfortable with. And it was the third one that I went to over the space of like 2 years. Yeah, I felt comfortable with her, and yeah, you just sit and you talk and you try and work out. They don't give you any answers really, like they're not, I thought you just go in and go, right, what's wrong with me? And they go, that's wrong with you. All right, lovely.
So what's the biggest sort of self-destructive behaviour that you had then that you don't have now?
Well, I wouldn't say I don't have them now. I just think they're a little bit easier to suppress. I think for me, I had very bad, I still do have very, very bad, I don't know what the word, I can't remember the word for it, separation anxiety, right? Because...
Is that who do you have that with, your kid or your wife or...?
Just anyone in general. Right. I don't have it now, but like, so because of like stuff I went through when I was like 11 or 12-ish, that just sort of stayed with me. And now looking back, that sort of shaped why, like, the group of friends that I have, we were all the same. We were either from broken homes or no dads, single parents, all of us, barring about 3 of us out of 20 odd. So when I was younger, you would have to like me, yeah? Everyone has to like me. And even if I don't like you, and I know you don't like me, you now I have to make you like me. So I would do things just to make people like me, right? Which I don't have. And I didn't even know I was doing this until, well, I went to therapy. I didn't know I was doing it.
I didn't know I was doing it until right now, talking to you.
Yeah.
Actually, you've just made me think.
You don't like me, but you're trying to make me like you.
No, but I've definitely done that before.
Yeah. So you're thinking, what a brick, and as soon as you think they don't like you, suddenly it's, oh no. So there's that, and then the other trait I have is like, that I've had to battle with, is that I always had a feeling, I don't know how deep you want me to go with this, mate, but I always had a feeling that people would leave, right? Once they got to know me, then people would leave, because circumstantially, that had happened when I was younger. Again, I'm going back to when I'm 11 or 12, but that's obviously stayed with me.
What happened then? Did your old man leave for a bit?
No, my mum and dad split up actually, and yeah, I'm not sure how much I can go into it, to be honest, because my mum might watch this or my dad might watch this, but it wasn't anything, it's just not a good time for that to happen. And again, circumstances dictated that I didn't stay in one place for very long with either of them. So from there, I've kind of always had that. So I've always had like a self-destructive thing. Like if things are going well, especially in a relationship, I will self-consciously, I guess, do something. I don't want to swear.
It's called self-sabotage.
Self-sabotaging.
Yeah.
To destroy that before I get left and hurt, right? And it's taken me a long time to get over that. I mean, I've definitely done it. Like my wife's been so patient with me. Like she's been, like I've given her so many opportunities to leave me. Like honestly, some of the things I've done are like diabolical now I think back. But can I just say one thing though about what we were talking about earlier? Because I've never been asked that question you asked me earlier, and I've never waffled on like that about when I was talking about having separation anxiety, and that my sort of insecurities from when I was younger. I don't know if I said this at the end of that. I want to reiterate that is so far. I'm so far past that. I couldn't care less what people think of me now, like at all.
That's great.
Couldn't care less. So if anyone out there, I really don't give a fuck.
Some weeks will struggle, right? Some days will struggle. So if you wake up and you know you're gonna have a bad day, you're struggling. I don't know whether you feel sad some days, depressed, anxious, or anything like that. What do you personally do to turn it around? Do you have somebody specifically that you can speak to?
No, I don't talk to anyone. I'm like, I know there's that whole thing of like, I've got people I can talk to. So I'm having a bad day, or I wake up and I'm like, because it does happen. I mean, I'll be honest though, I haven't had a really bad day since my son was born.
Fantastic.
Yeah, honestly, I've had a couple of like, when he was up till he was about 2, I was still going out and I was still not like more socially. I had a couple of like things happen here and there, but I'll wake up and on Monday I'll be like, oh mate, like, don't feel too good. But I haven't had any really bad days since my son was born. But pre that, I would have to, I always had people I could ring up and talk to, but I wouldn't ring them up and go, I'm not feeling good. I just know if I ring them and speak to them, I'll feel better. Mainly though, the thing that always got me through was actually just get up and do something, right? Get up and go for a walk. Just accomplish one thing. It doesn't matter what it is. I could get up and clean the house. Now I feel better. Just do the washing, put some washing on, do the dishes, clean the car, like whatever. So just do something, it would sort of make me feel a bit better. But I had those days where I'd wake up and I'd try and explain it to my wife. You're like in almost like, it's like a fog of like, and I can't explain it, like just how.
I know, mate.
You know, right?
I know. You say like you do things like you'll go out, you'll have a walk, you'll do whatever to change your mood. Do you feel like, I find sometimes food as well. Yeah, do you find like, I'd imagine with what you do and your love of food, you sometimes use food?
Yeah, definitely. Well, I was really fat when I was younger, so I definitely used food as a coping mechanism anyway. But, yeah.
Okay, yeah, I mean, I think we all do, mate. I too, you have a bit of a munch, mate, because that's sitting there, getting a bit cold, and I know you like to eat. We'll go a little bit all over the place, actually, mate, just like we're having a bit of a chat. We'll change it, we're getting a little bit serious there, so we'll change it and say...
Sorry, I don't know how much you wanted me to go in there.
No, absolutely, mate. I'm calling this digging deeper, so I want to have a proper conversation with people, because often on YouTube it's very superficial, isn't it?
I can definitely... Like, I don't mind talking about anything, yeah? But like, I'm very conscious that my wife is a very private, so she don't want me talking too much about stuff that I've done.
Indeed.
Plus, all the parents at her school now watch my channel.
How's your week been, mate? How's the last week been?
I didn't even know it was Wednesday today. Like, I don't know what day it is. I'm working that much. I'm either filming, editing, doing something every day, and like it's
a struggle, can
it's a struggle, yeah. And it's a struggle even. I struggle to plan things anyway. I get very bored very quickly. I'm quite spontaneous, so it's a struggle to plan. So when I plan something and I don't do it, that can send you into a little bit of a spiral. Do you know what I mean?
I don't know about you. I'm a list writer. I like to write lists and get a certain number of things done.
So at the moment, I'm starting this Isan series where I'm going to go and hopefully get some really interesting stories around Isan. Difficult for me because I don't like leaving my son for more than 2 days. So you got to sort of weigh it up, haven't you?
What dreams have you got for your son, mate?
Do you know what? The only thing I want for my son is just to grow up in a stable, loving household, and for him to be, you know, him to have the opportunity to do whatever he wants, and not to grow up as a spoiled little brat.
Well, you're going pretty all right so far.
Yeah, I hope so, mate. I hope so.
But I totally agree, mate. You know, I say the same with my son. As long as he's happy, as long as it's
yeah. As long as he's not hurting anyone, he can do whatever he wants. But I would like him to swim for Thailand in the Olympics. Finley the fish.
Why not, mate? He seems to love the water, right?
Yeah, he loves it. He absolutely loves it. So yeah, that would be my, like, if I was like living vicariously through him, that or a world Muay Thai champion.
When we first met, I think you hadn't been taking it that seriously, but you'd been at it for 3 or 4 years.
Yeah.
And you built up to about 2,000 subs at the time. So tell me about the struggle, mate. Tell me about the struggle to get monetized, or when you suddenly thought to yourself, hang on a minute, I've got to try and turn this into something.
Yeah, well, I think that's, again, it's like, before that, if I look at it now, I was just making excuses. So, like, I hear people, like, my friends will message me now and they'll be giving me the same excuses I was giving people back then. Like, I just wasn't consistent, but I thought I was making good videos. I look back at them now, they're not great, but they're still better than a lot of the videos that were out there. And but just to keep, like, powering videos out and people not watching them and getting a couple of 100 views here and there was, like, absolutely soul destroying. But there was a few times where I just thought, do you know what, this is not for me. And I kept on and kept on and kept on. That's what I say to my son, consistency, man.
Consistent, persistent, like Matthew Pinson. So how long did it take you to grow your audience? How long did it take to get monetized, for example?
On my main channel, 4 years or something.
And Roman Dad took what, a month, 3 weeks?
2 months, 3 months.
See, there's a little bit of difference there.
Yeah. You learn from your mistakes, don't you? Or you don't, but, like, you should learn from your mistakes. And then it also helped, my second channel helped the fact that I have a following on my main channel and they all like my son anyway, and it's a family channel. So I was always going to get, like, a chunk go over to start with. So I think the first day I got like 500 subscribers, and then it took me a while to get 1,000. Then that watch time that you have to get. It's a struggle, mate. It's hard.
I've got to be honest, that channel makes me a little jealous because that's the kind of channel I would have loved to have done a few years ago. I would have loved to have done that. And do you know what? I think it's almost genius because what you've done for yourself here, mate, you've given yourself a guarantee to spend even more time with your son.
Yeah, exactly. That's what it's all about. And even if it doesn't go anywhere, because I'll be honest with you, I think there's only about 10 videos in there. I've made $30. That's how much I've made. That's it. I got a 20,000 view video the other day. I got $3 US, 100 baht. Right? I don't know how that works, right? But
tell me about it.
At least I can go. It doesn't matter who watches it really. When I look back when my son's your son's age, and I can look back, show him, and look, this is what we've done. It's like, it's priceless, isn't it? Finn, what we got? Alana? Khao man kai. And what is it? Yeah, but what is it in English?
Yeah, tell me about a video that you reckon should have been viral, one that you filmed that you think could have done millions.
Well, I think one done, you did it with me actually. You did one as well, didn't you? At the solar powered chicken.
Free energy, mate.
Free energy. One done all right. It done all right after a while, because it got picked up by a Thai TV channel. I think the news or something put it on. I think that could have done millions of views, really.
Yeah.
With the subject matter, not my video, just the subject matter. So I think that's the one. That's the one that got away, I think.
I totally agree with you, mate.
It's so easy to obsess about views. I'm constantly at my wife going, oh yeah, look, this video didn't really do as well as I thought it's going to. Oh, I'm going to go and do this and this. But when it's all said and done, like, my son thinks it's cool now that I've got a YouTube channel because he watches YouTube and his friends watch YouTube. But they don't care. Like, my wife does not care. She does not care what my video did. My son, really, at the end of the day, will not care. The only thing that matters is what I'm doing at home. It doesn't matter, like, what you do for work is secondary, isn't it? Do you know what I mean? I've got to be a good husband and then a good dad, which I haven't always been a good husband, but the good dad part we're working on.
And does Finley always call you Gary? I noticed
Gary,
that he doesn't.
don't ever call me that.
Is that a latest thing, or is that?
No, he's never called me
always
that.
done.
He's never ever called me that.
Bless
Apart
you.
from when he was the first word he said was dad, or dada. But from the moment he could talk properly, he just called me Gary.
He wants to be a mate, doesn't he?
Yeah.
That's what it
and
is.
I think when he first said it, he's one of them kids. You know what? Yours was probably the same. As soon as he gets a laugh out of something, that's it. So as soon as someone laughed at him calling me Gary, that was it. I was Gary. He calls his mum Helen as well. It's not just me. So you don't need me to tell you what I think of the ice cream in here. Absolutely love it. I come here once a week. Yeah.
I'm gonna taste some of this.
Okay. Oh, Finney's going to go through it for us.
Is that coconut?
Yeah. Good. Nice palate, my boy. Good.
I did watch one of your channels the other day. You go to a place that I've always gone to as well. A little ice cream place on that square. I really like that place.
That's a pod.
Yeah, I really like that spot. I like that little square as well. It's just
It's nice, isn't it?
really nice.
Any good, bud? Decent, yeah? You sure you like chocolate? I've never known you to like chocolate. Usually you hate chocolate.
You get on well with your parents, right?
Yeah.
What
Really
do they
well.
think about what you do? What do they think about the channel in general?
My mum don't really watch it, which is strange because like my mum was, I think she just started watching it now. She watches the second channel, but she's, I love you mum, but she's a mad vegan, right? She doesn't even want to see me eating.
Why would she watch your channel then, mate? Come on.
Up until I was about 15, like, even when I lived with my dad, I never really saw my dad. Like, he was always out at the pub or working, right?
Right, okay.
So like, he never really took an interest in anything I did. Whereas my mum was like my biggest cheerleader. Even when I was a little fat kid who couldn't like run properly, I was the best at everything, the best looking, the most loved, like blah blah blah. But now it's kind of reverse. Like my dad will be in the pub and he's showing all my mates all the videos. They'll sit around watching them and that.
That's good.
That's nice. Yeah.
It's nice to have your dad feeling proud of it.
Yeah. I don't think he's ever said I'm proud. Like actually, the words I'm proud of you. But I remember the first time I went back. And someone went, oh yeah, Dad's been showing us all your videos and that. I was like, oh yeah?
Says it all, mate. Actions speak louder than words,
Yeah. So yeah, now my dad's like, yeah, good, like we're like mates, me and my dad, we're like mates, but yeah, very close with both my parents, but they're not massively close with each other. But
To your knowledge, describe the algorithm, mate. How does it work? The YouTube algorithm, mate. Because if we actually knew...
I don't know that there's anyone at Google that knows what the YouTube algorithm does.
Right.
I mean that as well, because I watch, even if you watch the videos on like the creator studio and they're like, oh, these are the changes. You're like, that don't make any sense. I honestly just think they'll push whatever they push. So it's true. You have to just consistently make good content, yeah?
You think so?
Content that you like and content that you can see yourself doing forever, basically.
Right, okay.
And that does not guarantee that you will get any views, but you are guaranteed if you don't do that, that you will get no views. Do you see what I'm saying?
Absolutely. What's been your most successful episode or video, and why do you think that was the most successful? Do you know?
I think my most successful one, I've not had any that have got like crazy views. Like, I think like this by far is this is by far my biggest one. It was one in Talat Blue Market in Tombury, and I basically, it's no different really to any of my other walk around videos where I'm eating, really. I get a bit of interaction with people.
Any different on the thumbnail?
No, nothing. That's what I'm saying. So there's no rhyme or reason to it. I think that's about 470,000 views, and that's by far my most. My second biggest was like 200, and then the rest, the big video for me is like 60, 70. I mean, there's ways to like, and I've noticed this more and more since my son started watching YouTube, and I really limit him to what we're watching. I'm watching one of these things the other day. They're like grown men, they're like in their 20s, but it's all like tailored towards kids. Right? But I'm going, this is nonsense. And then I'm sitting there like that, and I'm going, I've been watching this for 3 or 4 minutes now, and I don't realise I've been watching it for 3 or 4 minutes. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because there's so many cuts, and it's so like
Draws you in.
what's the word? Like
Engaging.
stimulating, right? And engaging. So there is ways to do it, but where those videos will always work to a certain demographic. But then, do you really want to do that? Like, do you want to be a grown man, look like tailoring to 7, 8-year-old kids? It's weird, isn't it? But fair play to any of them. But
yeah, I think it's difficult. I think what you've done quite successfully is, I believe, and I might be wrong, I believe I've done the opposite on YouTube. I believe sometimes you've got to put yourself in a box, like rate my takeaway, and you've got to do the same type of thing each week. I haven't. I've done exact opposite, which is why I'm going to start doing more of these sit-downs now. Man.
Yeah, but I think also that YouTube, on that point, YouTube will sometimes decide for you what you do. Yeah. So you're doing loads of stuff, and then YouTube are basically saying to you, your interviews are what you're going to do now, basically, right? Because they're the ones that are most of your big videos and interviews, right? Or YouTube are just telling you, basically.
Exactly, they are, mate. Yeah.
Same thing with Irish Times.
Yeah. I mean, it's even I've tried to replicate. Like when we went down to Petrobras, I tried to replicate the video and do it somewhere else, but
it is mad how it happens, and then sometimes, you know, your audience just likes you doing a certain type of thing, and it's a weird world, mate. It's a very, very strange world that we live in.
I mean, as we're talking about YouTubers, I might as well ask a couple more questions. So, is there a common myth that people have about YouTubers that is just totally wrong?
Well, one of the common things I get a lot, is that people think, or some people think, that it's like a hobby, doesn't take any time up, and that you are just always out having lunch with different people, and people can just message you, and then you've just got time to go for lunch with them, like people that you know off Instagram and stuff. They'll go, oh, I'm in Bangkok, can you come and have lunch? Which is lovely, like it's a lovely thought, but I work all day, every day. I wake up, I woke up this morning at about 5 AM, my son was sleeping next to me, got my laptop out, I did 2 hours editing, about an hour and a half editing before he woke up. And then I will go back and do that till now, probably till 10 o'clock. I'll be Instagram, like replying to emails and stuff. It doesn't stop. And for the amount of money that I earn, it's absolute madness.
How far away do you think are you from? What have you got? Closing on 90,000 have you got?
Yeah, I got featured in some on a Thai Facebook page the other day, and that I got loads in like one day.
That boosted over 90 now?
No, I'm on about 86, I think.
Okay. So just so people get some kind of idea, you know, you're doing very well. You're putting out some really decent videos, good numbers, etc. How far away, for example, do you think you are from getting yourself an editor, someone to edit for you or something like that? What number do you think you have to be at to be able to do that?
Well, it depends. It's such a hard question because it depends, because like I've got friends that are on similar sort of subscribers to me, similar views, but their demographics different, so they make a lot more money than me. So, or their content might be different, so they get sponsorship deals a lot more than I do, which are worth more, so they've got more disposable income. I've tried the editing thing a couple of times this year, didn't, and then I just ended up doing it again myself. One, I like things done how I like to do it, and two, it's quite expensive, and I actually enjoy it as well. I enjoy editing, I enjoy filming. It would be nice to have someone else. I would get a camera person before I got an editor, and that could be imminent. This could be. I mean, I've got a few friends that help me. I should shout out Dan Bangkok. A few people help me. Opal helps me with the camera when she's with me.
That's good. What's the biggest compliment you've received that's actually meant something to you? Not just, oh, you're wonderful, I like your hair.
Yeah. I get a lot of that. No, I'm joking. Do you know what I always like? For me, because the food that I feature on the channel, the food that I'm most interested in, isn't mine. Like, I didn't grow up eating Thai food, right? So I think that I maybe even understand more about Thai food than some Thai people, but I will never understand, because I didn't grow up eating it. Do you understand what I'm saying? It's hard to, if someone knows about food, if someone's banging into food and they're Thai, like I can never replicate that, because I don't know what it's like to have grown up eating it, kind of thing. But when like my Thai viewers say to me in comments, wow, you know, you really know what you're talking about, you're respectful, those sort of quotes, when they say like, you're really respectful, we love the way you act with people, you're Thai now, or, you know, you really know what you're talking about, that means a lot to me, because as I said, it's not my food, so to know that I'm representing it somewhat properly.
And surely when you get compliments about speaking Thai as well, because you do try hard, don't you?
Yeah, I do try hard, but my Thai is terrible, really. Like, if we're honest.
Well,
like,
no, let's not use the word terrible. I mean, at the end of the day, you don't have a Thai wife, you don't have a Thai family, right?
Yeah.
So basically, you're going out your way to learn the language.
Yeah. I think
so you should give yourself some props for that.
I think it's strange how few people I know that can even order food that have been here for like 10 years.
Yeah.
Like, ลุงชื่ออะไรครับ
วันชัย
วันใจ
วันชัย
วัน
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 วันชัย
ใจวันใจโอเคครับเสียวหลังปักลงทาลาน so เสียวหลัง means I think it means watch your back. I'll explain that a little bit later ลานนี่เปิดกี่ปีแล้วนะ
And who do you tip and who don't you tip? The reason I asked that is
Yeah.
I did hear someone going on the other day and they were telling their friend, oh, you should never tip a taxi driver because they expect it.
I tip absolutely everyone that does anything for me.
Good lad.
I'm not saying that I'm like Mother Teresa, but motorbike taxi drivers, restaurant staff. I mean, a lot of the times they won't take it. In the kind of restaurants where I eat, the street food place, a lot of times they won't take the tip.
Right.
Or they won't, like if you say keep the change, they're like no. But then you say, oh, you know, give it to the kids or whatever, and you know, you'll take it. But I tip everyone. That's why I've got no money. Like Robin Hood.
I'm the same, mate. Since lockdown, I even tip when I put petrol in. I always give them 20 baht when I
Yeah,
when
same,
I put petrol in.
yeah. I mean, they
can't
need
resist
like standing out in 40-degree heat would they filling your car up? Can you imagine?
Totally agree with that, mate. Aside from YouTube, are you naturally an introvert or an extrovert?
I'm quite a private person. I mean, I would say I'm an introverted extrovert, if that makes sense. Like I was painfully shy when I was a kid. Like I wouldn't talk to anyone until I was about 15, unless you knew me. Yeah, like unless I knew you, I wouldn't talk. Like, I wouldn't talk in front of adults.
Oh, really?
Until I got on a building site and the banter was flying about, and I was like, right, I better. And I started drinking and going down the pub with like my dad's mates and stuff. Like I wouldn't talk to anyone older than me. And as much as I do what I do, and it sounds a bit stupid, I'm quite a private person. Like I don't like announcing like what I'm doing or where I'm going or stuff like that. So if I didn't do this for a job, then I wouldn't be on social media at all. But I think I had to force myself. Like people, if you spoke to people that knew me from when I was younger, say my teenage years all through my 20s and stuff, if I said I was an introvert, people would laugh in your face because I was always loud, had like centre of attention at a party or whatever. Again, like we were talking about earlier, that's sort of like a mask, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like the most sort of extrovert person in the room is usually the most insecure person in the room, right? So you're probably covering up a few insecurities there without getting too deep. But I would say naturally I'm more like, I don't find it difficult to talk to people, or I used to find it a little bit more difficult to be myself, if that makes sense. Yeah. Like going back to what we were talking about earlier, but yeah, we're over all that now. So.
What about with since you started YouTube, have you learned anything about yourself, or
I don't know actually.
have you got any skills that you didn't think you'd have, or?
Well, I mean, I've taught myself to. I mean, if you watch my early videos, probably even up until a couple of years ago, I mean, I was terrible on camera. That comes from again probably being like painfully shy when I was younger.
Right.
Obviously, I've taught myself that I can do that. I can present to a semi-okay standard. Yeah. Obviously, I've taught myself to edit, which is quite good. Storytell, I guess. All right, so let me set the scene for you guys. It's early morning. We're in the flower market. It's hustle and bustle. There's bikes zipping through the market. There's people walking with their trolleys, delivering different fruit and veg to different stalls, taking veg from the trucks, taking veg and flowers to the tuk-tuks to do the deliveries for the day. You make your way out at the side of the market down to a little canal which makes its way out onto the mighty Chao Phraya River. All the produce is arriving. There's people unloading trucks, and these workers need something cheap, filling and utterly delicious to eat, and this is where. But that was something I was always interested in. I was always interested in films, movies. One time I wanted to be an actor. I tried out an acting school once. Told me I was very castable, but I can't act, so I should go and probably try out for Hollyoaks or something like that.
That's where I recognise you from.
Yeah, that's where you recognise me from. I've never really wanted to be on camera. Like the holding the camera in your face sort of thing, I never thought I'd be able to do. So the fact I can do that. Gazza. That is a bold claim. Best value pad kapow in Bangkok. There's too many pad kapows in Bangkok to make such a bold claim. But guys, once you see the size, the sheer amount of meat on this pad kapow, 450 baht, anyone finds a better value pad kapow than this, I'll give you your money back. Limited to the first 10 people. Yeah, and I guess I'm a bit more likeable than I thought I was, because...
Well, you must be. You've got nearly 90,000 subs, haven't you, mate?
Australian subs as well, because when I was in Australia, I was pretty sure everyone hated me, but the amount I've got a lot of Australian subs, so
that was
thank
probably
you.
just what you were going through at the time. You just probably thought everyone hated you, mate, at the time.
Yeah.
So what's the biggest misconception do you think people have got about you that don't know you?
I think maybe because a few people have said this to me actually, that maybe if you first watch my videos, I come across as like maybe a bit of a know-it-all. Like I think that I know everything because I go into so much detail, which couldn't be further from the truth. I don't know anything, which is why I research stuff so much. And then obviously when people meet me, they're a bit more like, oh yeah, so I've got the wrong impression of you.
I get accused of that as well. I think like you say, it's called research,
and it's because we're so interested in stuff, right? We get obsessive about stuff.
Yes.
So you really go into detail because you would want that detail yourself, right? But I think that's probably the biggest misconception of me. Maybe, I don't know, maybe sometimes I banter a little bit, so people think I'm a little bit more egotistical than I actually am. I don't know. Maybe I do just have a big ego, I don't know.
Do ladyboys make you feel uncomfortable?
Not massive. Not because they're ladyboys, or not because just the ones I usually come into contact with are quite full on. So I mean, a lady that acted like that would make me feel uncomfortable, or a man that acted like that would make me feel uncomfortable. They don't make me feel uncomfortable because they're
So Gary, you're into boxing, right? That's one of your favourite things.
big time, mate. Yeah.
Now, before I ask you about what happened at the weekend, let me ask you what happened before in the press conference with
John Fury.
all man born from his mother. John Fury. What do you think about that behaviour and the message it sends out to people, and how do you think that affects on boxing?
I'm one of them people that always usually says when something happens at a fight, oh look, you know what I mean, there's a lot of testosterone flying about, that we're talking about fighters, things happen, but that was absolutely ridiculous. That was one of the worst things I've ever seen. The fact he's gone up to the smallest one, who looked about 12 but he's actually 30. Wife and kids have seen that. And it was funny though that he stuck the nut in him and actually cut his own head open, and the other guy didn't have a mark on him, did he? And they interviewed the other kid that he'd done it to. Say kid, he's a grown man, but they were said like, everyone's worried about you, and he got it translated. He was being translated. He said, "No, I was worried about John Fury," and he went, "Why is that?" He went, "Oh, because you see the cut on his head." But no, I think there's no place for that. That's like.
And what about the fight itself? Like, first of all, how do you think that went?
I thought it was a great fight to start with. Absolutely, fight of the year for me. I thought Fury done well, really well. I think there's a lot of people saying he got absolutely schooled, and I just don't think it went like that. I thought I had Fury winning 7 rounds. Actually, my pick was him to stop Usyk 7-9. So in round 6, I sent someone a message and went, "Oh, it looks like I'm on it," and then Usyk just absolutely hammered him, didn't he? But no, I thought it was a good fight. I thought they both done well. Obviously, Fury's going to come in for some flack because of just the way he is, but I thought it was a good performance from both.
What do you think? Two things. One thing, Fury said that his corner had told him before the last round he was
up. Yeah.
To start showboating. Number 2, there's been a lot of stories again about Big John shouting in his ear over the coach.
Well, there was 3 in the corner. So there was Sugar Hill Stewart's his trainer, then there was John Fury and Andy Lee, and they were all telling him things, 3 of them in the corner. So when you've just been knocked down, you're concussed, and you've got 3 people screaming in your face, not a good look. But all 3 of them were telling him he was up, so.
That's very true.
I just got to give a quick shout out to Proper Boxing Podcast.
Okay.
It's my favourite boxing podcast. The boys on there used to do a thing called Love Boxing TV, which I've been on once or twice.
Thank you very much. Firstly, what do you think about him calling out any man under 60? And 2, what do you think about the fact that 3 guys have already called him back?
Big Joe Egan.
Big Joe Egan, who, by the way, all that celebrity gangster nonsense. If you look at the old videos with Dave Courtney and all these people,
good pals, wasn't he?
Big Joe Egan was at all those parties.
He was Mike Tyson's best pal.
He was, yeah. He sparred with him for years, didn't he?
Yeah, he told a story when Mike Tyson came to Ireland for the first time. Joe picked him up from the airport, yeah, he said it was carnage, yeah? The amount of people you can imagine, yeah? First thing Mike Tyson said, "Let's go meet your mum," yeah? Goes to his mum's house. Mike Tyson said, "Oh, thanks for the birthday present," yeah? His mum sent Mike Tyson an old second-hand sweatshirt when he was 17, and he's now 36, and that's all he can remember. It's like, thanks, yeah.
He said Joe Egan seems like a proper guy. Like, I saw him on a podcast, and he was speaking from the heart, saying he's a very tough life, and all these men that he's fought and everything, and he hasn't really made the money that he should have made. I think that John Fury, I mean, come on, he's got to fight him. I mean, what's the company? There's a KSI's company. They've approached him, and they've offered them both a lot of money. I think it's...
Don't fancy it to see.
He doesn't. Well, moving on from that, what's your thoughts about, firstly, YouTube boxing in general? Let's start with what's going on right now. Jake Paul, Mike Tyson. What do you think about that?
And that's a farce. That's an absolute farce. I mean, to be honest, I think Jake Paul will probably knock him out, actually, but...
Why?
But Mike Tyson at 57, unless they're not... Like, Jake Paul can fight. Like, he's probably...
He can, but he couldn't even knock out Tyson Fury's brother, could he?
No, I know, but they could probably both win a British title. Maybe a Southern area title.
I don't disagree. It's interesting you say that, because it's very easy for people to say that Jake Paul's nothing, he's a YouTuber, it's stupid, but actually he can probably box a bit.
He can fight a little bit. He's not good, but like, I've seen, like, there's far worse journeymen fighting up-and-coming prospects in the UK and in America than Jake Paul. As much as I think he's a clown. Like, another one, he's not funny, he's not witty, he's an absolute clown. But I mean, obviously, I hope Mike Tyson absolutely annihilates him. If it's a real fight, and they're both actually throwing punches, if he catches Mike Tyson, doesn't matter if he can box or not. He's heavy-handed, So if he catches a 57-year-old man on the chin.
I mean, the guy who started all this was my son's favourite YouTuber, KSI. What do you think about YouTube boxing? And do you think it's a good opportunity for some people to make money like Fury's brother? Or?
Yeah, I do. Yeah, definitely. So definitely for someone like Fury's brother, he's probably not even going to win a British title. And I've got no problem with it. I just don't like some of the. They just need to distance it to make it perfectly clear that this isn't boxing, because it's two completely different things. Like. And I'm old school, I don't like some of the shenanigans going on before the fight, you know, like talking about people's mums and like all that sort of stuff, like spitting on each other, and like it's just not for me. But
I agree, I agree.
There's some quite like, I don't know, I watched Dapper Laughs the other day in one. Yeah, I don't mind it, I don't watch it, but I'm not offended by it.
If I gave you an unlimited budget and you go anywhere in the world for a month, where would you go? Who would you go with? What would you do? And why?
Oh. Are we talking from YouTube perspective here?
Nope. No, not from a YouTube perspective. Completely, you've got an unlimited budget, you've got a month, and you don't need to work.
So 3 things I really want to do, right? I'll go to Antarctica, Maldives, Antarctica, hang about some penguins, and go to Uganda to see the mountain gorillas and live with them for a month.
Interesting.
Yeah, probably. But actually, I say that, but I still need to eat, don't I?
You do know.
Because food and coffee can really do ruin my trip.
Well, what do they serve in Uganda? What's the #1 food there? I've got no idea. I've got no idea.
No idea, mate. Absolutely no idea. We should look that up, shouldn't we? No, I'm sure there's decent food in Uganda.
There will be.
But I don't know if I can go that long without eating Thai food. God, I'll have to think about that, mate. Where's been on my hit list? Do you know what I really want to go at the moment? Saudi Arabia.
Why?
Probably because of the boxing, actually. That's got me interested in Saudi Arabia.
What part of Saudi Arabia?
All the big fights at the moment are in Riyadh for Riyadh season. I'd quite like to go to Riyadh. I'd just quite like to go over there and see it, because I've had a few people over and taken them around from Saudi Arabia. It's really nice people. I've been to a few Middle Eastern countries, always really, 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 really nice people. And in my experience, these countries you go to, they're not ever anything like they're portrayed in Western media. You want to go there, get the whole get up on, and just go to town. So what did I just say? Antarctica, Uganda, Saudi Arabia, and the Maldives.
There you go.
I've got to work. I can't take a month off work.
You know, there's not many people doing what you're doing in Bangkok, and apart from obviously the big guy Mark Williams,
the boss man.
The boss man. There's no one really doing what you're doing. Therefore, I would suggest that most people that come through Bangkok and they're looking to collaborate, you're going to be one of the guys that they first go to. Now, with that in mind, you've got to that stage where some people message you for collabs, right? Now,
Yeah.
How did you network before? What was your
Do you know what? I've got to say that I didn't really. Like, I'm one of them people, like, I don't like messaging people. Goes, I do it all by myself, I don't need to speak to anyone, blah, 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 blah. And then, I think the first... No, I've done a few collabs, with, like, when I had a small channel. The first collab I did with a big channel was Jerome from Global Travel Mate.
Yeah.
So I did a few with him, and then Paddy, obviously, Paddy Doyle. And that was when I thought to myself, oh, do you know what? I've actually got something to offer here. People do want to do stuff with me, because before I'd be like, oh, I've got a small channel, why would anyone want to collaborate with me? And it's funny because I speak to friends of mine now with smaller channels, and they'll say the same thing to me. Oh, I didn't think you'd want to do a video with me. Like, I've reached out to them and said, oh, I like your stuff, let's do something. They're like, oh, but I thought, because I've only got like 10,000 or 20,000 or whatever, which are big channels anyway, but they think no one bigger is going to want to collaborate with them. But I always say that to channels starting out, the one thing you've got to do is get collaborations going, because it's the only way you can grow, really. Not the only way, but it's the fastest way to grow, I think. And everyone has been in that position, so unless... Sorry, I can't think of a better word. Unless you're a prick, basically, you're going to want to help people, right? Because you've been in that position. I know some people don't, but like the majority of people, if they see you've got a channel and you've been grafting and you've been putting the work in, but you're not really getting anywhere, they'll want to help you. Like I need to see, someone can't message me with no videos and like, or maybe one video and go, can we go and do a collaboration? Because I'll be like, but if I see that they've been working hard and they're trying to do the right things, then of course I'd like to help them out.
This is one for your subscribers now, mate. 1, when did you get that hairstyle? Number 2, where'd you get your hair cut? Number 3, how much does it cost and what products do you use?
Alright, so I was saying this to my wife the other day, I still find it strange now, that people comment so much about my hair, because like growing up, like up until I was about 13, I had like a big mop of like curly-ish, kind of wavy, big fat hair with a fat head.
Send me a picture.
I'll try and send you a picture. You can put it up over the top. And then I had like French crop, and then like I had a skinhead, a shaved head for years, and then hair's not ever really been one. Then I kind of found my form, and when I got to Thailand, because they know how to do a side parting over it, don't they? So what was the question?
How much does it cost and where do you get it done?
It's gone up actually. It used to be 150 baht. It's now 250 baht. So I give him about 400 usually, 350.
Do they do the beard as well?
No, he won't touch my beard, so I'll do the beard myself. It's often been said that I've got the best beard hair combo over 40 on YouTube.
I'm pretty sure that's often been said by you. I don't doubt you have.
What product do I use? Angle change. Keep that rolling. Keep that rolling.
Don't know what just happened there, mate. Go on.
And good job you just reminded me about the products. We've got to get some in boots on the way up, some all out. I use... What do I use? I can't remember the name of it. It comes in red, silver, red, grey, blue and purple pots. It's like a Thai wax. Anyway, I use the brown one for anyone who cares. A little bit of hairspray, and I've just started using my wife's volumizing hair dryer.
Bet she's happy about that.
I'm over the moon. But listen, I know everyone thinks it's stupid, that I take this much time over my hair, but I'm 41 next week. Well, no, this week. I don't know how many haircuts I've got left, mate, before I wake up and it's gone. You know what I mean? You've got a nice head.
Well, mine's white if I didn't dye it, but there you go.
So I'm going to take pride in my hair until it falls out.
You should do, mate. You should do. Tell me about Arsenal, mate. Tell me about Arsenal now. First of all, actually, before we go to Arsenal, I should just mention you played in a charity football game before Christmas, didn't you?
Yeah, I mean, hang on,
mate. I'd like to ask you, what were you thinking when you put them shorts on?
Well, all right, we'll stick another picture up over this. I'll send you the video of me scoring the penalty top corner against Dan, so basically, I got the brief through, you have to wear a red shirt and white shorts, I don't own a pair of white shorts, but so I thought, oh, brilliant, I'll wear a retro Arsenal shirt, so I've ordered that, Then I've gone to order the shorts, and I've ordered those Warwicks, that Thai brand, so I thought, do I want to go like XXL, or do I want to go like, just go for a large, but it's Thai sizes, right? So against my better judgment, I've ordered a large. I might have even ordered medium, right? But they've come the day of the game. That's when they've turned up. So I'm like, I did actually go to a couple of the malls, no white shorts anywhere, yeah? So it's either wear these white shorts, which actually, if you haven't seen them, got a lot of cycling shorts on me. I had to stuff a sock down there on the front. And yeah, mate, I started to wear them because I messaged Dan and said, I'm just going to wear blue shorts, navy shorts. Still wearing a red top. Nah, it's got to be white, so.
Mate, what's the biggest challenge you currently face and what you're doing about it?
Biggest challenge I currently face, probably trying to keep weight off. And what am I doing about it?
Are you taking the piss?
I'm
Look at me!
I'm trying to keep weight off, and what am I doing to combat that? I'm going to the gym 6 times a week just to stay chubby. That or I'm trying to keep the wife happy.
Yeah, it's constant, I guess.
Constant.
So, for your viewers or my viewers, give us 3 podcasts that you like that maybe people could check out. You mentioned one earlier. It was specifically a boxing one.
Yeah,
wasn't
proper boxing podcast. That's probably the one I listen to the most.
Yeah.
Another one I listen to a lot is PBD. Patrick Bet Davis.
Don't know that.
It's like it used to be like an entrepreneurial thing, but now it's more about American politics. I very rarely agree with anything anyone's saying, but they get on different like different people from different sides. So like you'd have people from the left, people from the right, moderates, and that. It's just quite interesting to. You get some quite good insights on that. So I watch that a lot. Third podcast I listen to. What I listen to a lot. It's one I've been just randomly listening to recently. It's called Under the Cosh. So it's,
I know that.
You know it? It's like a football podcast, but they get on like sort of mostly like sort of played in lower leagues and stuff, and it's just good stories and it's fun. And the overlap I've started listening to a lot. Yeah, that's pretty much it.
So what's next? What's next for Gary Butler? Because we got the roaming dad now, which obviously
the roaming dad I'm hoping takes off. My son's got to earn his own money for school and that. So what's next? Just keep making. Do you know what? Just keep making videos and keep enjoying it. I saw there's another one I like actually. Podcast Modern Wisdom. Yeah. By Chris Williamson, I think it is. But anyway, I saw Jimmy Carr on there. And obviously, you know Jimmy Carr is the comedian, right?
Yeah, I've seen him. I saw him live here.
Smart, clever man.
Very. He'd done a couple of podcasts in America, and he came across very well.
Very well, didn't he? Yeah. So he said, like, you know, other comedians would say to him, like, oh, you know, moaning about, you know, the amount of work they've got to put in, blah blah. And he's saying, listen, you're getting paid to tell jokes. So I'm getting paid, not as much as I'd like, but I'm getting paid to go and eat and to travel and meet all these people like yourself and all these other YouTubers, and not just that, like all the people I meet along the way, all the places I get to see. So just to continue doing that and try and continue enjoying it, and hope it doesn't turn into a job, because at the minute I'm not really as much work as I do, and I am working a lot of the day, but it's not work because I'm enjoying myself. So hopefully just to continue that. I'd love to say take over YouTube and be the #1 food YouTuber, but I don't, you know, that's not going to happen. So
it's a dream, mate.
It's a dream.
You can have that dream, mate.
But be careful what you wish for, because would I want Mark Wien's level of notoriety? Probably not. So
you had to go back to the UK last year for a few months. We don't need to go into that at all. However, if you do end up moving back to the UK, how are you going to switch up your channel, do you think? Are you going to keep the Thai food, or just going to keep it food in channel?
I would probably sort of switch more towards cooking. You know, that was a dream of mine since I was a kid. Since I watched like Rick Stein for the first time, or like Floydie, I always thought, I'd love to have my own cooking show, which I could easily do. You know what I mean? I'm stopping myself doing that. It's not like.
For this video today, mate, if my house wasn't a tip at the moment and my kitchen, I would have loved to have done something like that. If I'd had actually a proper thing, doing a bit of cooking and just chatting while cooking, mate. Sitting down and eating.
Yeah, that's the sort of thing I really want to do. So
great little format.
I'll probably do that if I went back to the UK, I guess. Okay. Or a painting and decorating channel.
And how do you rate yourself from 1 to 10 as a painter and decorator? Are you really good?
11.
Are you really good?
Man.
Yeah. Okay.
I am the best.
Right.
I don't mean to sound egotistical again. I'm maybe not the best, but I don't know anyone who's better.
So when I can afford it, we shall employ you, mate. And
100%. I'll come around and do it for free, mate. Don't
fantastic.
worry.
Do you sleep well at night?
What do you mean? Do I sleep? Do you mean my conscience doesn't keep me up?
Don't mean that. I don't mean
right.
that.
No,
it was
don't,
deliberately a loaded question.
No,
I
don't.
You
I
don't sleep that well, no?
No, my conscience does keep me up sometimes, but no, I wake up. I mean, no, I don't know. I sleep about 4 or 5 hours a night at a minute, 6 hours max.
If somebody out there wants to start their own YouTube channel, what's the #1 bit of advice you would give
I would
them?
just say don't bother, mate. No, I'm joking. It's so cliche, but just start. Do not worry about buying a camera. Don't worry about you need the latest phone, or you need the latest camera, you need the latest equipment, or you need the latest editing software. Like, I have made more money with my phone. Right, I've got an iPhone. I know everyone can't afford an iPhone, but I've got an iPhone. Get yourself a decent mic. Yeah, not an expensive one, just a plug-in mic or a GoPro, whatever you can afford. Yeah, and just start. And you're going to be terrible at the start. Mostly, no one's going to watch it, probably. But you just need to keep on. I keep saying it. Consistency is key. Just keep posting. Keep trying to improve your videos. And once you've got a few videos up there, don't be afraid, and try not to be too self-conscious to reach out to other people for help, whether that's through collaborations or just advice, because, you know, I get people messaging me all the time for advice. For what it's worth, I'll always reply to people, and I'll always try and give, as you know, advice that's helped me out. So I think reaching out to people, being consistent, and just starting, because what you'll do is you'll put it off, and then eventually you'll start, and then you'll say, why didn't I do this a year ago? Why didn't I do this 2 years ago? So that would be my main bit of advice. And also, don't just follow a trend. So don't, for instance, I'm not saying this because I don't want anyone else in my space, but don't just do food because you see food's doing really well for people. Yeah, if you're not that into food, and you don't want to just eat food for the rest of your life on your channel, so pick something that is interesting to you and something that you could see yourself doing for, because this could be the rest of your life. So I mean, I've got to eat every day, right? So
Finally, mate, what message have you got for the world?
Treat people the way you want to be treated. There's not enough of that these days. You know, try and understand each other a little bit better, and you know, not to be so divisive. You know, you can have a different point of view from someone, but still sit and have a drink with them or sit and have a coffee with them. You don't have to agree on everything. Yeah, and we're all a lot more similar than we are different. That's what I'd say.
Who is your biggest inspiration?
In life, or
Just in life. What makes you get up in the morning?
oh, my son, 100%. I don't really idolize people, so my son for sure. My son, yeah, I think, yeah, sounds a bit like drastic, but I think like I had no real purpose before my son came along. So I think maybe I could say maybe between him and my wife saved my life, I would say. This guy is absolutely incredible. Auntie, absolute wok master. I don't even need to eat this to know this is legit. The smell coming off this wok, charcoal old school cooking with pork fat. That is all you need to know, guys. All you need to know.
Now it's pissed off to get it cooked out. Just see the sparks flying off that charcoal. The fish sauce. Oyster sauce. Oh, that wasn't oyster sauce. What was that first one?
Siyodam,
Which is
black soy sauce. Then she put the oyster sauce. A little bit of pomchu rod. Oh, look at that big
that
ball
garlic.
of garlic. Look.
In goes the chili. Wow. Fistful. And look at that.
A little bit more soup. Oh, and then more crab. Wow. Oh my god.